Get on the bed.
That's usually not how a stream starts out, but you can say get on the bed to start it, I guess.
Did it already start? I don't have it
we're
showing live. Oh, shit. Sorry about that, everyone. I did not see that we have gone live here. Give me one moment while I just tweet out a link to the stream, and then we'll get going. This is going to be episode 6 of the Pick and Troll, so thanks for joining in. We're going to be live right now, and then we will be back tomorrow to discuss the Saturday slate. Yeah, that was live on the stream. Way to go, Jordan.
It's usually how an OF thing starts, not a basketball pod, but you know all the demographics today.
Oh, that's good. That was good. All right, riveting 1 minute of content there. Thank you, everyone, for joining in. This is episode 6 of the Pick and Troll. I am Jordan, coming to you live here with Rex. Rex, how you doing?
Nice Friday. Got the Friday beers started early.
Yep.
We're debating about starting beef with them because Dr. Locke sucks and we're better. So all you Friday beers fans, at us. We're coming at them.
Yeah. Dr. Locke does suck. Every single time he goes deep into the negative before making a nice big comeback there at the end. I call bullshit. I call fake numbers. I call fake bets. That's all I got to say about that. Friday, a lot of stuff up on the site. Make sure to go check it out. Breakdownsports.com, BRKDWN. Make sure to follow us along on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Instagram is _breakdown. Twitter is @breakdown_sports. And search for us on Facebook, The Breakdown Sports. And you can find us there. A lot of content going up. There's a lot going on in soccer this weekend, as well as college football and pro football. So we got all sorts of fantasy stuff, DFS for you up there. Rex had a soccer stream last night, so catch that on our Twitter feed. And let's go ahead and get started with Pick and Troll. Last few days, not many games. I mean, we had some upsets that we'll get to later today when we go through our trolls, as well as tomorrow when we kick it off. But just 2 headlines to note. I'm sure everyone saw Nate Oates coming at the throat of Coach K, saying that he felt Coach K would continue to play had he not had 2 ugly non-conference losses. So the news is that Duke has decided they are canceling their non-conference schedule. In reality, it's only 1 game, but as always with Duke, it's got to be a spectacle. You need to have a press conference, or you can't just release a little notice like any other team that's canceled a game is done. You got to get Coach K in front of the cameras talking, saying how he's protecting the player's safety and sending them home. I don't know. For me, I feel the safest place for these college students to actually stay in quarantine and not catch the virus is on campus, where they are under lock and key and not back at home with their families. So hot take coming from me there. The other thing in COVID-related news, we have both UConn and UVA shut down. The UVA Michigan State game was canceled, and UConn is the first team to be shut down twice this season. So tough look there for the Huskies, and Virginia, this is their first instance. So not the end of the world. I'm sure they'll be back in 7 to 10 days whenever NCAA says that they are able to start up again. You got anything to go, Rex?
So should I save my Duke hate for the troll section and then just let it build up there yet? Because I got a lot of words about Duke and Coach K.
Let it fester. Only 1 baller of the night. Last night was a very short slate. Rex and I both only had 1 bet. Both were on San Diego State University. That was an easy cash. They upset Arizona State. Won by, 10 points or so?
Yes, dominant win. Line moved towards us. So the one thing we started to do was make it the night before, and we keyed in as that game as one of the ones where we were like, we ended up liking the side, but necessarily we might not like the side, because if we just think this number is going to move, and if it's going to move a lot, we might try to middle it. We have yet to middle it, but that was one of the games where we definitely saw this line's going to move by at least 2 points, and it ended up doing by close.
Yep. Yeah. I woke up like a psychopath at around 1:30 in the morning, checked my Every Sports account, and realized a 4.5 was available, and I played that. Rex woke up and played it, and we just watched that number continue to steam down. So everyone who bet San Diego State, no matter what number you got, was a winner there. So that was nice to see. Baller of the night last night, Anthony Tarkey out of Coppin State. Dude put up 33 points, 10 rebounds, 8 assists, 4 blocks, 4 steals. It's a stat line. It's some grown man things. So nice job for Tarkey out of Coppin State there. That's all I've got for a news-related items. We'll go ahead and run through the model recap just to get everyone caught up to speed. We did make some couple little changes with our model. I'll let Rex get into that a little bit so I can drink some beer. But the model is 150, 138, and 9, 52% against the spread. The multi-point edges, they're still nice and profitable, 64, 51, and 2, which is a 55.6% against the spread rate. Rex, what did we change in the model?
So we're not naming names. We pulled from multiple data sources, and that's what you got to do with the model. You can't be independent and only look at one. So we pull from about 5+, I would say. And one of our sources that we're using just hates updating. Just hates updating it by 10. It's not updated by 10 in the morning. We're junkies. We like to look at the line right at the open. So sadly, unless we can see more consistent play from one of our sources, he's for the foreseeable future will be out of our lineup. So that's where one of the tweaks we did. Still, we bumped up another source a little bit more than we currently weren't using to make up for it. So that's where balancing it out. You always got to make changes, adapt, go flow with it. I like being able to see the numbers earlier to try to get some market reads. And yeah, we're about 2 weeks in. Numbers are the 2-point edges is where I like it's at. That's kind of consistent. If it can get a little bit higher, I would like that. But with always just trying to start a model in a COVID season where it's completely more unpredictable than it usually is. Tough one to start, but we're still profitable in both ways. So can't be sad about that. And one thing I do have to say is we're not people who are just going to blindly play every single edge the model has. I think there is a science to picking plays behind a model because you see S&P Plus with Bill Connolly. He doesn't play every single edge that he has. He tries to pick it. Sometimes you sweep, sometimes you reverse sweep. So that's just what it is. Trying to read and learn the model is one of the sciences that we got to get into more. And I think we're finally getting our groove with it once we have like 5 data points for some games. Some teams are just starting today, so the model's still a little raw there. But I think it's starting to grow and it's going to look consistent going forward.
Yeah, absolutely. I personally, and you as well, we just don't have the time to even try to bet on every single game. I know there are some analysts out there who say that they bet every side and every total on the game. It's fucking bullshit. There's no way you can get a good enough number with a good enough edge on every single game, side, and total. So we pick out, whether it's only one pick like last night or maybe it's up to 5 like today where I'm getting a little bit crazy. Could be even more on a full Saturday slate. And as we progress through the season, when we get into conference play, which sort of really kicks off today with the Big East, we should see our numbers improve actually because we are getting more comparable teams. You're not going to have these 32-point spreads that are either auto losses or the favorite somehow chokes away the game and the favorite wins by 4. I mean, it's never been right around the number with those large edges. So we're looking forward to continuing to roll through this, seeing some more conference play, some more spreads in the single and low teens versus these 25, 30-point spreads that we saw the first 2 weeks of basketball.
Yep, and college basketball season's definitely a marathon, not a sprint. You see some people who, regardless of the games, are playing 8, even if you're playing about 8 games a day and it's already this early in the season, you're either just playing for fun, which is good for you. I like doing that as well. Some days I might just throw Taco Bell runs on 8 plays just because I want to have fun. Here, we're looking at the model, and personally, volume players, you are who you are. I just don't agree with the method. I don't like the method. It's not right, not wrong, just personal preference there.
Yeah, absolutely. And some people love that high volume, low unit size. They're throwing, like you said, Taco Bell money or convenience store money fuck, some dudes throw Arizona iced tea money on 37 different plays over the course of a day. And that's not for me. I don't have the time or energy to be putting into things if I'm only going to be going up or down $1 to $5 every time that I win or lose a bet. So I like to put a little bit more stakes in the game, play, 5, 7, 2 games on a given day. And if there's an edge there, I like it. And I either do well or I don't. And I'm able to sustain that through the course of a season, through the course of the year, and been able to sustain across any sport that I've bet over the last 2 to 3 years, except for baseball. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and jump into the picks. Like we always say, if you do have questions or comments or want us to take a look at a line, go ahead and hop in the comment section here. Comment section is actually 2-0 on plays. Quinn Sullivan put the team on his back in the last stream and carried us. He picked 2 dogs to win outright, or he picked 2 dogs to cover, and both of them won outright. It was a sweat-free day, so that was nice to enjoy there with Quinn. So Quinn, if you're joining us from YouTube again, go ahead and say hello to the other viewers. You are a legend around these parts now.
Yep, and one thing I did learn that I didn't know, because I do have a Periscope account hooked up to your Twitter. If you're watching on Twitter and you can't comment, that is why. You don't have to stream. Just make a Periscope account, comment there. If you don't feel like doing that, find us on Facebook, find us on YouTube. We're live, both of those there.
Yep, absolutely. So I'm going to go ahead and kick it off with a Big East matchup here.
Easy.
One of the first games that I looked at this morning, and game that the model liked as well. I'm backing Seton Hall -4 St. John's. I took Seton Hall -4 at -110. Market is between 4 and 4.5. So take the number you like. If you can get even odds on a 4.5, by all means do that. Projection is actually from the model all the way up to -7. Now Seton Hall is 3-3 on the season, but they've actually played some hard teams. Whereas St. John's 5-1, they've not really played many great teams. I think they beat BC, but BC isn't even as great a team as Seton Hall is. So let me fact check myself real quick. I want to say they beat BC.
Yes, they did by 4.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so they played BC well. They played BYU well, but as we've seen with BYU, they are very inconsistent. So that's just something to keep an eye on. Although Seton Hall, they have the worst record, I think they're going to do better in the Big East. One thing that I really like in this matchup is just the Seton Hall team that they have, especially with their front court. Seton Hall will control the glass on both ends of this game when they're able to play with size, which is going to be a little bit tougher against the St. John's team that really likes to run the court. Seton Hall can play with 2 7-foot dudes. They have a forward center, Sandro. I could not even attempt to pronounce
Mamu Kulashevy.
That one. He's 6'11", and then they actually have a true center who is 7'3". So if they put both those 2 dudes out at once, it's going to be a bit tougher to keep pace, even though that Sandro.
Oh, just call him Mamu. That's what I do.
Mamu. All right. Even though Sandro Mamu is able to play down at the 4, he's not going to be able to compete with that very high-paced offense. So they're not going to have the 2 7-footers out there often. It'll be more of a change of pace to establish what they're looking to do. And I really like Seton Hall. Seton Hall is a top 100 defense, so they're able to actually keep up with that high-tempo St. John's offense. Seton Hall, it's not like they're one of the slowest teams in the country. They're very average. They're around the 150 rank in tempo, anywhere that you take a look at those types of statistics. St. John's should have Raheem Dunn back in the fold today, but he's super streaky. The dude can either put up 20 or score 0 and play the same amount of minutes in both games. He had a concussion earlier this season. He is just cleared to practice earlier this week. They think he is questionable for today. So something to keep an eye on, but I really like Seton Hall here. Another angle that helps Seton Hall, they're good offense. I mean, I think we know that they can play well. They establish themselves inside. St. John's is not an awful offense, but the thing with St. John's is that they score most of their shots from 2-point range, and that's where Seton Hall's strongest. they're able to control those boards, even if St. John shoots, 47 to 55% from the field, which would be a real good day out there on the court. I think that with St. John's grabbing the lion's share of those rebounds, they're going to be able to cover this line with ease and take it away their first win in conference play.
So what I see with
what
this,
is my dog doing?
The hungry dogs.
Yeah.
So with Seton Hall, they're a team that have played probably one of the toughest competitions so far, schedules throughout. Their lowest team was Iona and Wagner, but they've played 4 other reputable teams so far this season. With Mike Anderson, it's always not fun to go against one of his squads because you just know they're going to compete to the last minute. So you're not playing a high number, so you don't have to worry about Mike Anderson's team backdooring you, hopefully, knock on wood. With Seton Hall on defense and St. John's on offense, Seton Hall holds a little bit of the strength, like you said, but the biggest factor in this game is when Seton Hall is going to be on offense, St. John's defense is not that great. When you play at that fast tempo, you expose yourself to fast break points, and even without Miles Powell, Seton Hall isn't playing exactly where they want to be, but they're not performing ultra worse where they thought they could potentially be. So Mamu's definitely held the fort down here. The only issue that I have with this game, or not issue I have, is I don't believe St. John's runs enough zone yet. KenPom still has their defensive fingerprint as inconclusive. Can't say I've locked into more than one St. John's game this year, so I can't make any assumptions there. But Oregon's matchup zone gave Seton Hall a lot of issues. And Mamu basically became completely irrelevant there. And they still hung into the game. They lost by, I think, 8 points in that one. But just where this St. John's defense is top 100, but they're fringe top 100. Seton Hall is a top 30 offense. This is where, as long as they don't have a poor shooting night, they should easily cover this number.
All right. What's your first pick?
All right, let's get into – I don't know if they're a public favorite team yet. I think this game might be the one that becomes it, but we're seeing against a little bit of not line move yet. Oh, wrong game first. Let's go into the one that we love to fade. Or not love to fade. We backed them once. We got burned by it. We're going to start fading them now. All right. Jordan's backed them twice. Kansas State, they're on the auto fade list right now. They're laying 10.5, 11 and some shots against Milwaukee. All right, Milwaukee hasn't played a game yet. They're probably like a 225 team overall. Other than you just think Kansas State just lost to a D2 team and now they figure it out against a Horizon school that hasn't played a game yet, you can't have any confidence in backing Kansas State, let alone laying double digits with them. So that's where Milwaukee at plus 10.5. If you want me to rattle off the players, I can say who they're going to work out with, but we've been talking about this Kansas State for a while. We're going to troll them later. As long as they stop Pack, we're good. So my Milwaukee boys, let's show up tonight. Let's get a good dub here. We're going to look for Tryon Lucas, who's like a 16-point per game player. He can go off against them. You only have to score about 60 points to beat Kansas State at this rate. So just show up, score 50, and you'll get that easy 10.5 point cover. I'm playing them at minus 105. Our model has this down at 9.5, so only a 1 point edge here, but we like it just because this is a team you can't have any faith in backing. And maybe Line Breakers FC is rubbing off on me because there's 2 teams that we love to hate on here. Kansas State is right in my wheelhouse now, especially since I got burned by them. So this may be a little bit more bias in it than not, but I like Milwaukee to cover that 10.5.
I'm on Milwaukee as well. I have it plus 11, minus 115. So grabbed it from an offshore that this was a rogue 11, took it. I like it at 10.5 as well, especially against the 105 like you did. A couple notes about Kansas State. They stink. They stink. They shot 30 free throws last game and still lost by 15 fucking points to a D2 school. They shot 66% from the line. They shot 20% from 3. And that's not like, 20% like they went 2 for 10. Nope. They went 4 for 21. They continued to fire the ball up against a D2 school and got blown the fuck out. Milwaukee plays in D1. I know that because they're in the Horizon League, and that is my handicap. Milwaukee plus 11.
So right there, if you're going to shoot 21 threes against a D2 school, is that coaching? Or is that you just have like a coaching fuck up where you're just like, let's not just pound it in the fucking inside because we have D1 bodies. Yeah. Fort Hays was defeated coming into that game as well. Yeah. So they're not even beating their own D2 school teams. So seriously, if your handicapper is laying minus 10.5 because the trends say X, Y, and Z, unfollow them, get them out of here. Not saying Milwaukee plus 10.5 is a cold stone lock, but definitely one of the games that I have the most edge on, and the model likes it, so it's just an auto pick there.
Because you said that, I typed in Kansas State minus 10.5, and there are literally touts on Twitter saying to bet Kansas State minus 10, minus 9.5, minus 10.5.
Yeah.
Oh god.
If there's like at least 15 tweets there, how many basketball games have they watched between the 15 of them? Over under 5 for the season.
Well, seeing that they're retweeting the guy who I just found, seeing that he's retweeting over and under girl, I would say 0 on the number. I want the exact score of 0.
All right. You got one more play that I'm not on, so you're riding Milwaukee with me. So we share 3 today. Jordan's going to give out his next personal play for you.
So next play that I am taking in the Dakota series is going to be the South Dakota State Jackrabbits. Now you have a high potent offense out there in South Dakota State going against North Dakota, not to be confused with North Dakota State, who they played yesterday. Yep. No, they play tomorrow. There's a lot going on with these Dakota schools. It's up there. You got the Summit League. It's tough. There's a lot going on. South Dakota State, minus 10. I grabbed it minus 110. Market's a 10.5. Projection is minus 13. We know South Dakota State, they love to jack up threes. Mike Daum is gone, but his ghost remains in that gym very much with these white dudes jacking up threes. North Dakota is a bottom 50 type school. They don't do much of anything well, and that's kind of troubling for a team like that. They do play pretty fast, so if there is anything, maybe they can tire out some of the Jackrabbits. See, little animal humor there. But I really like South Dakota State here, minus 10.5. I did look at the first half play and I liked it, but at the end of the day, the way that South Dakota State plays, it's not indicative on a fast start versus kind of just coasting through the second half. If they are up in the first half, they often end up in the second half by just about double. So I like them here. They shoot well from 3. They're shooting almost 50%, which is one of the better teams in the nation. So I really like South Dakota State here. Not much more that needs to be gone into on this one. North Dakota is not a great team, and South Dakota State, we all know them. We've seen them in the tournament. They've made NIT runs back in the Jackrabbits.
So you're fading the Serbian.
I am.
Filip Rabaka, he's like the lone bright spot for that team a little bit. Caleb Nero is also decent as well, but Filip Rabaka is one of their best players. South Dakota State, on North Dakota, he's 6'9", so South Dakota State doesn't run a huge lineup, but I really don't think that'll play a factor into it. The one reason why I like this play a lot, South Dakota State's a top 50 adjusted offense, and for adjusted defense, North Dakota's bottom. They're 327 according to Bart. So, yeah, that's a good enough play for you to lay the minus 10. Shoot threes. They're making them at the 16th best rate right now at 43%. So, easy play there. Laying the double digits in what do you call a rivalry series?
Yeah, I would call it a rivalry series. Rabaka's going to look great in an Iowa Hawkeyes jersey next year when he's a grad transfer and he goes to replace Luke Garza. That's my It's my bold prediction.
Ooh, all right. I'll make sure to keep that one in the notes there. All right. So third time I'm playing against this team so far in the season. So let's hope 1-1 so far on it. So let's get to 2-1 today. Not fading UCLA more in this one, but I'm backing Marquette here because I thought UCLA was going to have a slow start, which they did. You know the meme where the chick's up in bed saying, "What is he thinking about?" And the guy's laying on the pillow. It's how did Pepperdine not cover plus 7.5 in triple overtime? That's been my life for the past few days. Northwestern's taken some of that from me with that abysmal last minute run that they had. So this is where going against UCLA here, the model really helped me have more confidence in this one because currently the line's at 4.5. We have this down at 3. So that's where I like that I'm getting a 1.5 edge here. I think UCLA, once they get into Pac-12 play, they're going to get a lot better and look stronger because I think this Pac-12 is pretty weak so far. But this Marquette team, they showed up against Wisconsin. So I know they're playing some 2 back-to-back tough games here, but I think they're going to be up for it. Marquette, they're about a top 50 team.
Fringe top 50.
They're probably like, right now, Rex's bracket, they're on the bubble. So this is where a big win against probably the top Pac-12 team is going to look good for them. Would love to play them as my hungry dog. Kind of like it there, but I'm just going to take the 4.5 here. UCLA's offense is just – they still have them as a top 25 offense, and I just don't see how it's still a top 25 offense. I'll give them a top 50, but – I think UCLA's offense there is where they're a little bit overrated. That's where I think the minus 4.5 comes from. I'm happy grabbing that because I think Marquette can win this outright, but I'm going to take the points here.
I like that. I like that angle. One thing, I'm just pulling it up here on.
So Marquette gets the free throw line too, which is one of the biggest reasons I stayed off of play specifically because a team shot 58% from the line. Marquette gets there at the 11th best rate in the nation right now. So UCLA, they do play solid defense on the free throw rate, but I think Marquette just forces you to do it. If they can make Wisconsin look like that, I think UCLA shouldn't be an issue because defensively, not exactly the same, but similar.
Yeah, no, and I agree. And Marquette actually plays really large at the guard, which is something that's going to do well against a UCLA team that is Tiger. As I believe he might be a starting point guard. He plays 80% of their minutes, but he's under 6 feet tall. So they have some plus size guards on Marquette that should prove to be good matchups, especially on that defensive end. I think that's where Marquette has the edge here. It's just that this is going to be. Is this the best defense that UCLA is going to have played? They've played. Yeah. Oh yeah, by far. San Diego State. Yeah, no, Marquette's better defense than San Diego State.
But San Diego State is a team to look out for. Everyone was watching big regression. I picked Boise to win that Mountain West. I do not feel confident in that pick anymore.
Yep. Yeah, and another thing with Marquette, they're a really solid 3-point team. So is UCLA, actually. But if you're 4.5 with a team who's shooting near 40% from 3 and at pretty high volume, that's certainly a good angle to take. Marquette does do well on the boards as well. So that's one couple areas where I really like Marquette here and getting 4.5, where I think these teams are closer rated. I don't think UCLA is a ranked team. I think UCLA is probably around 30th to 35th overall in the country. And I have Marquette sitting somewhere in the 50 to 60 range. So getting 4.5 here. I like Marquette. I like that angle, and I'm tailing your play there.
Yeah, where Marquette could get into a little issue is if UCLA and Chris Smith gets hot, but Marquette's got the size to handle it. Pepperdine didn't really have the size to handle him. And Hami Hafkes Jr., he's by far my most hated player right now. Those free throws that he missed and cost, he's one of their most used offensive players. His effective field goal rate is so high, but he's just not good. I think this is the game where he finally shows, and Marquette, man, the more I keep looking at this game, the more Joey B's talking about the pups. I might end up throwing a money line play on this.
Get on the bed. Oh, really? You're going to take money line? I mean,
I'll think about it more and maybe let a Friday beer 2 or 3 get into me and then look at it more. But, I mean, I definitely think Marquette has the ability to win this outright.
Yeah, no, I mean, especially considering how well they played Wisconsin. That's a huge game, and UCLA is not going to be of the same ilk that Wisconsin is, especially right now. So we're both on this one. Marquette plus 4.5. I got it minus 110. Did you?
I got minus 105.
Oh. Looks like you moved the board on me.
Yeah, the 5 cents. Sorry, man.
Yeah,
I'll pay you out the Taco Bell.
All right, and then we're going to move on to our last play here. We're both on this, so I have a total of 5 picks because there's some more picks today than usual. We will run through these at the end. As always, go ahead and chime off in the comments if you want to see more of my dogs, if you have questions about any games. We do have a question about Iona, so I'm going to task Rex with going ahead and leading that one since I am taking Iowa here. This is the first time that both Rex and I are going against the model. I think this is actually my first time going against the model. If you are liking Iowa, how are you not just loving everything they're doing? They put the hurt on UNC, and personally, I think that, hot take here, Iowa State, not as good of a basketball team as UNC.
So groundbreaking.
Laying 12.5 here. Model projection is 11.5. Iowa State has no size. So if you're going to give Luke Garza a nice, easy practice game here, and he's just going to be grabbing all the boards, dishing it back out to 3. My namesake, Jordan Bohannon, he is named after me, going to be dishing out those 3s. I mean, what's not to love about Iowa and the way that they're playing? They play super fast tempo. They love the fast break. They have the athleticism there. And I know that this has always been a storied rivalry, Iowa and Iowa State. They're not that far. Iowa isn't a very large state. But I like the Hawkeyes here, laying 12.5, minus 12.5, minus 105. That is my 5th and final play of the day. Rex, what do you think about this game?
Yeah, never fun going against the model, but when it's only 1 point edge here in a game where it is minus 12.5, and it's a top 5 to top 10 team in the nation, this is where the model's just not low enough on Iowa State yet and still not high enough on Iowa yet. And about 3 to 4 games, we'll probably see where the model probably would like Iowa in this scenario. But this is where, given the Cyhawk series, this is the biggest discrepancy we've seen in talent in a very long time. Iowa State only does have 2 games under their belt, so their sample size is lower. But I think this is where all their weaknesses, all their issues completely show out, because Iowa is just dismantling teams right now for fun. I haven't looked at the series history back to back there, but when you can beat your rival by more than 10 points, it's always a good feeling. Iowa State, where do they hold an advantage in this one? They don't foul quite frequently, but it's because they played lesser competition, so you really can't go for there. And where I think this game is going to be completely won, completely demoralized. Iowa's got the big bodies. They're the 8th best team in second chance points. And if you saw them go against the big squad of UNC, who probably has one of the best big man combinations in the nation, or at least depth-wise, and they still destroyed them on the boards, Iowa State is rebounding or cleaning the defensive glass at like a 229th rate right now. So that's where, when you're going up against a top 10 team, there's just going to be so many garbage buckets there for us to get. Iowa, I don't think, will need to get extremely hot behind the 3, but if you want to, good for me. You don't have to clean up the buckets there. But all signs point to Iowa. Laying the 12.5 is something that I was actually happy to do here, because this is a game that I had circled, because I just don't think Iowa State is the 58th best team in here. I think they're going to fall more towards the 80s and 90s when the season goes on more.
Yep. For comparison sakes, KenPom does have Iowa State at 72nd, and their glaring issues are that they do not rebound. They only get 32% of rebounds, or they give up 32% of offensive rebounds, which means that they are in just about the bottom 100. They're a little bit closer towards the pack on offensive rebound, but it's by like 10 points. So not doing much there. When they don't go to the free throw line often, which against a team like this, Iowa State, with how they play, you're going to want to get to the line as frequently as possible, and they just have no depth. Their tallest player, who plays 14-ish% of the minutes, is 6'10". So they're going to struggle down in the paint. And like you said, we saw UNC struggle against this Iowa front court. Iowa State is sure to struggle against this front court.
So one thing I just ran very quickly, which makes me feel even more confident in there, is I used Kansas State as the barometer here, just for what it's worth. Jordan, you might not think this is reputable. It said Iowa State would win by 6 against them, according to Eric Haslam. Iowa would only win by 11. So that's where I'm just literally saying Iowa would not be a -11 team against Kansas State. So that's why I just
that's a good point.
Yeah, so that's where I just think they're just not bullish on them enough where we'll get there eventually. So Iowa, lay it. If you really want to, play the first half spread, because I'm pretty confident that will come in. And then even if they don't end up covering it, I'm not a big person who would double up here, but double up on that second half spread if they don't cover the minus. I think it's 7 for the first half.
Yeah,
so
7.
I would feel confident playing that minus first half spread as well.
Yeah, nothing really else to add. And yeah, I do agree that I don't think analytics have caught up to what Iowa State is doing. A lot of what they're doing is just physicality and speed, and they're just dominating teams. Teams are getting out of rhythm. They're not able to consecutively string together shots. I don't think UNC ever went on a run of more than a handful of points versus Iowa. Yeah, I think that Iowa State's going to the Cyclones are really going to struggle to keep pace with Iowa here, both in terms of tempo and actually scoring within double digits of them.
They beat Arkansas Pine Bluff. Congratulations. I'm pretty sure St. Louis beat them by 50. And then they lost to South Dakota State by 3. So that's where Iowa State, this is the game that shows their floor easily.
Speaking of Friday beers, we have the Rolling Over Extra Tail of Charlie's that he loves. Big fan. Big fan of Rolling Rock.
Just to give you a heads up, we might have to not stream on the 15th because Iowa State plays Kansas State.
Oh, geez. Yeah, that's a cause for memorial for the country. Flags at half-mast, and there will be a day of mourning.
I might have to do the Bart Simpson meme for that game, too. All right, let's get into our trolls. I'm hungry for that first team.
Actually, you need to talk about Iona.
Oh, shit, yeah. I forgot about that. Sorry, Chris Smith, not the one who plays for UCLA, fellow breakdown contributor.
Iona and Fairfield. So you have Fairfield catching 4.5 in this game. Give me 60 seconds.
All right. Model has it at a pick 'em. So that's where, first off, that's one of our largest spreads of the day. So that almost says that our 2.5-point edges are at like 58 or 55%. So that's where you would play Iona here. Fairfield's currently 0-4. I mean, there's not much more to say about that.
No, they're not very good.
They're bottom 325 team. Iona, you're more around the 250, so you're not that respected yet, but you're kind of all right. And I believe we talked about Iona on the last stream because we talked about Isaiah Ross, where he's their top guy that can go to. And as of right now, Fairfield doesn't have anyone who's doing anything that great for them. Jesus Cruz and Taj Benning are their only bright spots there, but this Fairfield team cannot score whatsoever. They did play some, I guess, I don't know if you call it tougher competition, but they played Hartford twice. They played Providence and they played Stony Brook. So they played a lot of regional teams. So that's where all these teams are significantly better than them. So this is where they're playing another team that's significantly better. Yeah. They haven't covered or won any of them. Or I think they might have covered one of their against Stony Brook, but they haven't on anything else. So I think you have to play Iona here.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I consider Iona to be better than Hartford, and they lost by 5 and 13 to Hartford. So this is a chance to back Rick Pitino. That's where he coaches, right? Iona. Yeah. So this is a chance to back him. I too disagree with the model here. That's closer to a pick 'em. We just have project where we pull in our projections from. It seems like everyone has differing opinions on this, so it settles at a pick 'em. This has happened to panelists before, so
you're picking between two bottom like 75 teams here. One's a lot closer to the bottom. One's a little bit higher on the shit pile. So this is where I don't know. I wouldn't throw anything more than $25 on this game if I'm betting it.
This is ugly. You can't tune into this game. Quickly, I want to see what the fan score is. It is a 30. That's sad. You know what's even sadder? Kansas State against Milwaukee is a thrill score of 21.2.
And I will be watching that.
It's on ESPN3.
I know. They don't want to charge us for it, so that definitely means I'm watching it.
All right, so let's go ahead and we will jump into our trolls here. So thanks for the questions on today's games. Appreciate it as always. We do like when you guys chime in and make us have to think on our feet here. Talking 60 seconds about Iona is not easy. So thanks to Rex for taking the lead on that. And let's hop into our trolls. We talked about both earlier. I'll let you take the floor and pick which one you want to yell at first.
So Duke, one, if Coach K is sending his team home, then why is Duke football still playing then? Because Duke basketball runs that school. So obviously there's differing opinions within the sports athletics there just because Duke football is still playing. I don't know if they play this weekend because they're not having too hot of a season, but that's strange to me that he's just going off on his own there. He's one of the teams at the college that still is getting to play. Other people aren't playing, so he's kind of just shoving a middle finger at the rest of the teams there that they do have the ability to play, and they're not doing it. Secondly, I know it's just one game. He's still going to play in the conference games, but say it gets more escalated and he doesn't bring them into conference play, you're ruining all those players' chance. Not ruining, you're hurting all those players' chances to get to the NBA. It's more of a selfish move there, right there, because maybe it is smarter in the long run, but then why is 335 teams still going on with it? And you can cancel. I mean, that's your call, Duke, if the school wants to cancel it. But all those freshmen that committed there, Duke's that more one and done now, you're hurting their chances to go to the NBA. And lastly, I hope they're still paying Gardner-Webb because that was their money game. That's one of their money games on their schedule. And now you're taking that away from them. That's a game where Gardner-Webb is going to get up. It's probably the game they had circled on their calendar that they got to play at Cameron Indoor, and you're taking that away from them. You're taking in the income or taking away the potential revenue income from playing that game from a school that definitely needs it right now because Gardner-Webb football isn't a top one. So I have no idea if they're even playing. So 3 ways there. Coach K is just being completely selfish, not looking at the bigger picture there. And yes, everyone's going to say it's Gardner-Webb. Who gives a shit? But you really don't want to be setting that precedent just because your team lost. Sure, they lost for the first 2 times, non-conference games at home for forever. Maybe don't play so many home non-con games. Maybe go travel somewhere for once in a while. I know this season's different, but just setting that precedent just shows it's low. Coach K just comes up with these little semantics all the time. They're just not needed. He just likes the spotlight on them, I guess. I don't know what benefits is bringing Duke basketball more than more hate, and maybe good. No media is bad media, so maybe he's taking it that way.
Yeah. On Gardner-Webb, they play in the Big South. They did not play football this year. They're one of the conferences that pivoted to a spring schedule. So, yeah, Gardner-Webb could certainly use some money right now. There's folks dying out there. As far as Duke, it's a tough look. That's really bad, especially for him. I said this at the top of the show. For him to go out of his way, make a press conference, make a big spectacle out of it. No other team. There have been other teams who have pulled out for safety reasons, especially early in the season. We saw that tons of teams were pulling out of Bubbleville, the Mohegan Sun event, and there was just a press release. There wasn't their coach getting up to a podium, sitting down, holding a press conference to talk about safety and things. Coach K has never given a shit about anyone's safety before, except for his own when his back starts hurting. And I don't find this situation to be any different at all. Tough look for Duke. Of course, it's coming when they are not doing well. But as you mentioned, if he were to pull out of the conference schedule, that would severely hurt his players because his players aren't guys who are expecting to stick around. They are guys who hope to do 1, maybe 2 years at most. And if he were to, say they lose a couple ugly ones in the conference schedule and he decides to pull the team out, they're going to be the ones who are hurting from it. They're going to be the ones who are most affected. And Coach K will go on to collect however many millions of dollars he makes each season. So throughout it for Duke, I think we've hated on them enough for today. But as always, it is Duke, so we can always pile it on more.
Yeah, and that was a very nice cash back in the Illini on one of our last streams.
Yeah.
No sweat winner there. Io is just a baller. We were hyping him up on the last show. He really doesn't need it that much, but he's probably one of my favorite players just to watch specifically on the court because he, like Anthony Tark, sorry for comparing you guys against each other, but he's just another stat sheet stuffer where he does everything for that Illini team. He only got 18 buckets, but I think he had 6 boards and over 6 assists as well in that game. So he just some of his drives to the basket. He had one real nice floater that one felt good when it went in, and he hit a 3 when they were still up 18 at the end. I'm like, yep, just give it to him, man.
Yep,
should have played that money line, but oh well.
You got to have those stats, but yeah, it was a great game. It was fun to watch. Duke was playing like shit the entire game. I believe I had texted you at one point and said that Duke looked like a bunch of 18-year-olds. Oh, wait, they are 18-year-olds. They looked really undermatched. They did not seem to have the manpower needed. They couldn't hit threes. They were turning the ball over, throwing it out of bounds. It was ugly.
And you lost. Right, the last thing is you lost to Michigan State and Illinois. It's not like you lost to 2 shit teams at home.
Yeah, so exactly.
It is what it is.
Yeah,
have fun, Duke fans.
Yep, enjoy. Second troll that we have today is the team that is currently on auto fade watch. Kansas State. Kansas State lost to a D2 school. You heard me say the stats earlier. They shot 30 free throws and only hit 66% of them. They shot under 20% from 3, and they suck. They have been playing so bad. It's hard to even watch this team. In the middle of the games on, was that Tuesday or Monday? Tuesday. We streamed on Tuesday. In the middle of the earlier slate of games on Tuesday in the evening, they were all at halftime, and the only thing on ESPN to be able to stream was the Kansas State Fort Hays game. And I was seriously hate watching Kansas State play against a D2 school that shouldn't have won, shouldn't have upset them, shouldn't have covered if there even was a line. I was talking with some other people. We had hypothesized that if there was a line, Kansas State should have been 15 to 17-point favorites going against any D2 school. So really bad look there for the Wildcats. What do you have to say about K-State?
He lost to Fort Hays, who hasn't won a game yet.
Yeah.
There's not much more trolling than you can say than that. If you go to even Sports Reference and you're not even going to one of the hardcore analytics websites, I mean, if you go and look at their rank, one thing they're in the top 100 is turnover rate, and they are at 15. So, like, I think that's one where you don't want to be at the top at, unless teams are just really turning over the ball more frequently than not. But they're averaging 63 points per game this season. Their most points scored in a game so far was 68 or 70 and 68. All the rest were 62, 58, 58. I mean, McGurl and Pack, I'm sorry. It's going to be a long season there. McGurl, real shame that it's your senior year. Hopefully you could get a grad transfer somewhere this year. Pack, you're a freshman. Find brighter ground somewhere. You're from Indy. Go to IU. Go to Notre Dame. Go to anywhere that's not Manhattan, Kansas.
Butler.
Hell, go play for Manhattan College. It might be a better year there than anywhere else. But not much more to say than that if I'm going to say to go to Manhattan College over Kansas State.
Yeah. Quick run through of some of their stats where they are just doing absolutely terrible. Their steal percentage on both sides of the ball, terrible. They are sending people a line at almost an elite rate, so that's great. They are allowing teams to shoot 60% from two, so that's what you want to do. Their effective field goal percentage against is over 55%, so teams are hitting twos and threes against them, and they do not look good. They look lost. Bruce Weber on the sidelines looks confused. They call timeouts and they don't really do a lot of anything. And for about the seventh time this stream, they lost to a defeated D2 school. So that's all we got for our trolls today. We already did discuss some of the more marquee matchups. My dogs keep sneezing. Marquee matchups for tonight: Marquette, UCLA. As we both mentioned, we are both on Marquette. Seton Hall and St. John's. I am on Seton Hall. And then Villanova, Georgetown, Iowa State, and Iowa. Those are the only really notable 4 games today. And then just quickly, we will run through the bets that we are playing today, and I will give the mic to Rex.
Yep. So the 3 that we agree on is Milwaukee. Jordan got them at 11. I got them at 10.5. Play that number basically. If it gets to 8, maybe lay off it, but we don't see a double-digit win here. Marquette plus 4.5. Hopefully UCLA doesn't get more in the groove. They're starting to show signs of life, but Marquette at 4.5, where I like them outright, got to take the 4.5 points there. Iowa minus 12.5, going against the model here by 1 point. But Iowa, I mean, just beat on your biggest rival that you probably have. Get a nice win here. I forget how the Cy-Hawk went in football, but Iowa, nice 15 to 16 point win tonight incoming.
Yep. My 5 plays. As Rex already mentioned, we're both on Milwaukee. I have them at plus 11, minus 115. I am on Marquette as well, plus 4.5, minus 110. That is the one where we are going against the model there. And then, no, we aren't.
No, we got the 1.5 edge
Iowa.
there.
Iowa, we are going against the model, minus 12.5. We both have it at minus 105. My 2 extra plays, I have Seton Hall minus 4, minus 110. And then I have South Dakota State University minus 10, minus 110. Thankfully, my dogs have stopped wrestling as I need to talk, so I'm able to actually concentrate. That's all we got for today's stream. You have any final comments before I sign us off?
Nah, just be back tomorrow. We'll be nice, huge slate tomorrow. So bright and early, bring your coffee, make it an Irish coffee if you're getting wet and wild. College football will be ready. We got a shit ton of content out there for you there, especially with DFS. So I know you're about to plug us. That's all I really got to say.
Yeah, absolutely. So yes, Rex and I will be back tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. Eastern, or just there, about maybe 9:30 at the latest. So go ahead and follow us on Twitter, breakdown_sports, BRKDWN. Check out our website, breakdownsports.com. We've got new content up there for soccer, NFL, college football, and NBA. We're just around the corner from the NBA season. We do have a lot of fantasy basketball articles going on. And as I mentioned in past streams, we are trying to grow our Facebook and our Instagram following. So please do us a favor and follow us on there. Search for The Breakdown on Facebook and search for _breakdown on Instagram. From me, my 2 stupid ass dogs, and Rex, we are signing off. Episode 6 of Pick and Troll. We'll see you guys tomorrow morning. Peace.
Charlie's being a wild man today. I love it.
He's jumped off the bed too.